There is not going to be an alt season this cycle. It's probably something you've heard repeatedly if you stay up to date with crypto Twitter, crypto YouTube, crypto TikTok, any kind of crypto informational space online. It is repeated left, right, and center by these low IQ influencers who made a quick buck off of meme coins and now all of a sudden think that they are these experts. The truth is they are clueless. They put rage bait out there for interactions. They do not know what they are talking about. Alt season is going to happen and it will be the greatest alt season crypto has ever seen. In this video, I'm going to run through some charts to back up this thesis and more importantly explain the macroeconomical environment and why we are having a shift towards risk on investments like cryptocurrencies. I can assure you the biggest alt season of our lifetime is on the horizon and the majority of retail investors are sidelined. They're either scared, watching from the sides, watching from the cook chair due to geopolitical tensions, tariffs, or just general cowardice. And the rest of investors have either blown the majority of their funds through leverage trading or degenerate meme coin investments. And this is exactly how the market makers want it to be. However, if you are of the select few who still has cash to invest, who still understands or at least is willing to hear out that alt season is going to take place, then make sure you watch this video carefully. Make sure you pay attention to the charts I'm about to show you. And at the end of the video, I will reveal how we in CC Elite are prepared to make the most of this opportunity and make upwards of 100x gains on our investments. So make sure you stick around until the end. Welcome back to the channel. My name is DK and I've been a crypto investor for over 5 years now. I run Crypto Crusaders, arguably the greatest financial community out there with over 400 members and over $9 million invested across the board. On this channel, I share my views on market trends and investment strategies to help you make generational wealth in crypto. So the 4 charts we're going to cover today are gold, oil, Bitcoin dominance, and others dominance. But before I get into those, I need to explain a very, very pivotal concept of risk on environments versus risk off environments. So when does alt season take place? Alt season only takes place during a global risk on economical environment. Okay, let me repeat that. Alt season only takes place during a risk on environment. So what is a risk on environment and what is a risk off environment? So a risk off environment is when there's lots of geopolitical tension and lots of economical uncertainty. And as we know throughout this entire cycle so far, we have evidently been in a risk-off environment due to the amount of geopolitical uncertainty and economic uncertainty. We've had the President of America almost getting assassinated. We've had World War III almost break out 3 or 4 times now. We've had the tariffs come into place that kind of rocked the economy. And I can list more and more and more. These are all evident of a very clear risk-off environment. So in this situation, I want you to think what you would do if you were smart money, if you were big money, if you were a billionaire or a trillionaire, and you're paying people millions of dollars a year to make financial decisions on your behalf. And you're seeing the tariffs wreck the economy. You're seeing World War III almost break out every single month. What are you going to do with your money? So there are 3 storages of your money. So 3 storages of value where smart investors place their money during a risk-off environment. Those 3 are gold, oil, and leaving it in the bank. And I'll explain why for each. So, when it comes to gold, gold is a safe haven asset. Gold is where you put your money when things look scary because gold will last forever. Gold is not fiat. Gold is not crypto. Gold is gold and it will be around forever. It is the safest store of value. Everybody knows this. So when geopolitical tensions are high, there is a flight to safety. Billionaires and trillionaires all invest in gold. And that is why you will see this huge surge here. Starting from 2022. It has been in a parabolic move from 2022 until now. From 1.6k to 3.5k. Almost a 2x on gold. And that shows just how bad the markets have been for risk on investments like crypto. So gold is important to understand this. Gold is your safe haven asset. What is another asset that smart money invests in when there's geopolitical tensions and possibilities of a war, especially in the Middle East? That is oil. So smart money know to invest in oil when there's huge geopolitical tensions, especially in the Middle East, because they know the value of oil is going to surge. And again, as you've seen from here, in 2020, look how crazy oil has gone. Smart money invests in gold when things are looking scary, and they invest in oil when things are looking scary. And I've shown you since 2020, for both gold and oil, they have been constantly trending upwards in a parabolic fashion. So, clearly, we are in a risk-off environment because gold and oil have both been performing. Now, what is the third place? What is the third storage of value, storage of money that smart money will allocate their funds to when things are looking scary, when the economy is looking bad? They will leave it in their bank, in their savings account, to get an interest return on it. Why are they doing that? Because interest rates are high. When interest rates are high and you're making 3% per year on your $1 billion, why are you going to risk it anywhere else? 3% on $1 billion is a lot of money. Why would you risk it anywhere else? There's no reason to risk it anywhere else. Okay? So, we are evidently in a risk-off environment. I will repeat it again because you need to understand this. We are in a risk-off environment due to gold surging, due to oil surging, and due to interest rates being high. So if you're a billionaire, you're smart money, you've got billions, trillions, you are going to put your money in oil, gold, and in your savings account. That is where all of your cash is going. Now, here is the fun part. We are now shifting towards a risk-on environment. So a risk-on environment takes place when there is less geopolitical tension, when the economy is looking better. You will see, instead of a flight to safety, you will see a flight to risk. You will see gold drop. You will see oil drop. You will see interest rates fall. So a lot of people ask me, how do you nail these macro moves? How do you always know what's coming next for the market? And the truth is, the majority of the time, aside from me being a genius, is charts. All you need is charts. Charts can tell the future when it comes to financial assets. You're essentially reading the future. To understand the future, you have to understand the past. What happens after gold has its parabolic move? What happens after oil has its parabolic move? What happens after interest rates go up? Well, gold comes back down, oil comes back down, and interest rates come back down. Equilibrium. But this isn't a one-sided thing. What happens alongside these coming down? Well, risk assets go crazy. And risk assets include stocks and especially crypto. Crypto is now seen as the place to be for risk assets. Nobody really cares that much about stocks anymore. The President of America himself said he doesn't care about stocks anymore. He cares about crypto. Congress care about crypto. BlackRock care about crypto. So we can happily assume crypto is the main risk-on sector of finance. So how do I know that the risk-on environment is coming? How do I know it's going towards crypto? Well, you look here, and I called the exact top of gold here. And I called it around 3-4 months ago. I said gold has topped here at 3.4k. And the idea is that gold will soon, well, not soon, but relative to gold, we will see a move down towards 2.8k. Now, again, in the grand scheme of things, that seems like a pretty small move. But what happens during these periods? Well, if you zoom out and you look historically at gold, what happened during here? Do you want to know what happened during this little period of chop? That was the 2021 cycle for crypto. People became millionaires. 10x, 20x, 100x, 500x gains in a matter of months. From this period of gold going sideways after topping out here. Now, let's go to 2017. What happened in 2017? Well, this little period of sideways movement on gold led to the greatest alt season so far. 2025 will be better than 2017, but 2017 to date is the best alt season we've had. So when gold falls here and has this little chop, what do you think is going to happen to risk-on environments? Well, the same thing that happened during these periods. The same thing that happened during this period. Parabolic moves in cryptocurrencies. Okay, so how do I know that a risk-on environment is coming? Well, I can see it in gold very, very clearly. I can see gold, and this isn't just a random line drawn here. There's a lot that goes into it. You know, it's too much alpha to share it on here. That's just for CC Elite. But clear resistance was here. We knew it would top here. We said it would top here. And so far, it has tested this level 4 times now. For 4 months straight, it's hit, rejected, hit, rejected, hit, rejected, hit, rejected. Soon it will give up and it will plummet down to 2.8k. What else can we use to see that clearly a risk-on environment is coming? Well, the same thing applies to oil. The same similarities apply. When oil goes through these sideways negative moves, crypto does well. And we look here, oil is going on a downtrend from 2023, but one could claim it's bullish, right? One could say this was bullish until April. You could say, yep, it's a, descending wedge and it'll break out and pump. Well, clearly it didn't. It broke below support after many rejections to the upside, and it has now had a bearish retest of this level. It's going lower, okay? Oil is going to plummet. So, what did I mention? The 3 things that indicate a risk-off environment are when gold looks bullish, oil looks bullish, and interest rates are going up. Because they are 2 safe haven assets. And you can just leave your money in the bank and make interest return. So what tells us that a risk-on environment is coming? Well, gold looks bearish, as we've explained. Oil looks bearish, as we've explained. And we know that interest rates are coming down. The Fed are cutting rates, likely in September. So these 3 main things that tell us we are in a risk-off environment are now coming to an end. And the pendulum is going to swing. And we are going to enter a risk-on environment in which crypto outperforms everything and cryptocurrencies give you life-changing returns. So that is the macro. Now let's focus on the micro within crypto itself. Here is Bitcoin dominance. So if you watched our first video on YouTube, you will see that we are rejecting the level I had initially drawn out. I have now raised it slightly and changed this to a max zone. So at the moment, the current thesis is Bitcoin dominance is likely topped for the cycle. This little grey zone here is the max zone it can possibly reach with a wick. However, it is unlikely it reaches this level. Bitcoin dominance should likely start a downtrend from here. In the same way that we have risk-on environments in global economics, we have risk-on environments within each sector. So remember, there is always a king asset of each sector. Gold is the king of commodities, and the king asset is the safe asset. It is the one that performs in risk-off environments, and everything below it usually outperforms in a risk-on environment. Now, the same applies to crypto. Bitcoin is the safe haven asset of crypto. It is not the global safe haven asset. That's gold. That's oil. That's keeping it in the bank. However, within crypto, Bitcoin is the safe haven asset. Bitcoin is where you can put your money and chill. Regardless of any geopolitical tension, regardless of any economical crises. And as you can see, Bitcoin dominance has been performing this entire cycle. It has been outperforming everything else because it is the flight to safety within crypto. Now, we know that this is coming to an end because we know, using charts which tell us the future, that Bitcoin dominance has topped. So what does that mean? Well, now let's look at the Others dominance chart. Again, this green level is the lowest it will go. However, the likelihood is it's already bottomed for the cycle here. So, what does that mean for altcoins? Well, it's very clear. The chart tells you itself. Just by looking at this, you should understand. Every single cycle, you get a small pump here, pullback, huge parabolic run. This is Others dominance. So this is dominance of altcoins. The market share of altcoins against Bitcoin. Do you understand? Again, same thing here. Small little baby pump, pullback, boom, altcoins go crazy. That is the alt season. Again, we've had it this cycle. Little baby pump, pullback. Now this will go absolutely parabolic, wilder than most people's expectations. The boys in CC Elite are likely to make 50 to 200x gains on their altcoins from here. Crypto Crusaders is my private crypto community in which we have almost 400 active members and over $9 million invested across the board. Our mission is very simple. It's to make sure every single member can capitalize on this bull run, which most likely is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make generational wealth. As you can see, it's been going pretty well for us. With the highly anticipated bull run on the horizon, interest to join has been at an all-time high. And we're actually going to be raising prices and potentially closing signups very, very soon. So if joining a group like this is something you're interested in, I'll put an application link in the description of this video. And in the meantime, make sure to join our free Telegram channel below. So let me just run you through this once more. There is global risk on and risk off environments. So far this cycle, the bias has been towards risk off assets, such as gold, such as oil, and such as leaving your money in the bank and just farming interest returns. Now, gold is topped. Oil is topped. Interest rates are going down. There is going to be a flight to risk. And they're not going to put it in stocks. American Congress are not going to put it in stocks. BlackRock are not going to put it in stocks. You are not going to put it in stocks watching this video. The reason you're not going to put it in stocks is because you know I'm right. You know there's going to be a huge asymmetrical return on crypto. You know altcoins are going to be parabolic. You know that there's going to be an alt season. And if you didn't know prior to this video, you should know now. There is going to be an alt season. I can assure you of that. And it is going to be crazy. Like, likely nothing you've seen before. People will make generational wealth, especially in CC Elite. Now, of course, with alt seasons, you need to be in the right coins to make these gains. And we gatekeep these coins within CC Elite. We can give you the macro thesis, we can give you the outlook, but we can't give away the playbook to 200x gains. That's just reserved for the boys in CC Elite. Now, let me bring up another chart. Just to show, again, the clear flight to risk that is coming. This is Ethereum against Bitcoin. Again, covered it in the first video. Clear support here. Just wait for this little parabolic advance. Okay, ignore the time frames. This is what is going to happen to Ethereum against Bitcoin. The same way it's going to happen to silver against gold. Another interesting thing I want to show you is copper against gold. Every single time copper has a bounce from the lows, we see massive upside in crypto. So this is copper against gold. So look, August 2016, you can check the time frames yourself for when the bull run coincided. This pump here of copper against gold was the 2017 alt season that blew everybody's socks off. People making 500x gains like it was nothing. Okay. Now, let's see where the next bounce was. Oh, what a coincidence. 2020 until 2021. That was the previous cycle where again people were making 100x gains plus. Now look where we are here. We're at support again. Do you know what's coming next? This is coming next. And then retrospectively you'll say, oh yeah, it was so obvious. We made a higher low, copper pumped against gold, and we had a massive risk on environment as a result of it. However, we don't deal in retrospect. The whole idea is to front run these moves, and I am helping you front run it right now. So you're saying, okay, well, why does copper pumping against gold cause alt season? Well, it doesn't. Copper against gold is essentially the others' dominance of commodities. So when copper goes up against gold, it shows that we are in a risk-on environment. So, do you want to buy crypto at the top of the risk-on environment once my thesis has been proven? Here and here, I'm like, oh yeah, he was right. We entered a risk-on environment. And it's obvious we're in a risk-on environment now. Let me buy some crypto now. Well done, your exit liquidity. You're my exit liquidity. I'm not going to take any prisoners. I'm selling when we reach that period of peak risk. That is when most of you will be entering, unless you take my advice and enter before the bulk of the move. Because I promise you, this is not financial advice. This is my personal insight that I am 100% convinced we are going to have a ridiculously sized alt season, much like nothing we've ever seen before. It will be better than 2021, better than 2017. And you need to understand macro to understand the tops and understand the bottoms. So, let me make this very clear one final time. A little TLDR for you guys. We are exiting a period of risk off when everybody is scared, when the billionaires don't want to risk their money. So what do? They store it in gold, they store it in oil, and they store it in their banks. However, gold is topped, big money is selling. Oil is topped, big money is selling. Interest rates are being cut. Big money have all this money in their bank, and now they are making less of a return on it. Where do you think that money is going? That money is going into stocks, and that money is going into the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. Again, in our first video, I covered the Ethereum ETFs and what is coming for alts as a result of that in detail. Make sure you check that out. But they are going to put it in stocks and mainly the crypto ETFs. They will allocate more money to the crypto ETFs than they will stocks. I can assure you of that. They know the asymmetrical upside that comes. So where will we put our money? Where will me and you put our money? Are we going to put our money in the Bitcoin ETF? Are we going to put our money in Apple? No, because we're not stupid. We know a few thousand going into stocks, going into Bitcoin, going into Ethereum, it's not going to make you that much money. What will make you generational wealth, or at least has the potential to make you generational wealth, is investing in altcoins. And I cannot make this chart any clearer for you. I just cannot make this chart any clearer for you. The same thing happens every single cycle. Why would you doubt it this time? To doubt Altseason this cycle is to doubt a trend that has continued for 3 cycles straight over a span of 10 years and is shaping up to carry out again. And you're also doubting the fact that humans are greedy. You know, to say Altseason won't happen is to say humans are inherently greedy. Oh yeah, everybody's just going to buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, they're not. Humans are greedy. I'm greedy. You're greedy. We don't want the returns of Bitcoin and Ethereum. We want more. We want 100x. We want 200x. We want 300x. And God willing, we will get those returns. Because, again, I cannot make it any clearer to you. Same pattern every single time. Every single cycle. And then you look at copper against gold. Every single cycle, the same thing happens. You look at gold. Every single cycle, the same thing happens. You look at Bitcoin dominance. Every single cycle, the same thing happens. You have to be very, very low IQ, no offense, to think Altseason isn't going to happen for some magical, mystical reason of you wanting to be against the grain. Either you're scared and you want to pretend Altseason won't happen so that you don't have to take the risk. Because if you convince yourself, okay, Altseason isn't going to happen, you then don't have to take that leap. You don't have to take that risk. You sit there in bed watching TikTok all day instead of taking a risk. It's ideal for some of you watching this if Altseason doesn't happen, because then you don't have to hold yourself accountable for missing one of the greatest parabolic periods of any market in history, and you just sat there doing nothing despite all of this knowledge at your fingertips. Like, genuinely, I don't even care if you join Crypto Crusaders. Just don't let yourself down by missing out on this ridiculous, life-changing opportunity. So that wraps up my in-depth breakdown of why Altseason will take place and why we will see a flight to risk investments. Do not let fear or noise blind you to what the charts are screaming. Prepare now, because this could be the last Altseason that will change your life forever. So, do you agree or disagree with this analysis? Let me know down below in the comments. If you want more analysis like this, join our free Telegram channel where I share daily market insights and free calls. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for our later videos, and I'll see you next time.